Missing man found floating in Batang, IGAN. Stateless children to attend school. Smooth sailing process in reclaiming BINTULU port. These are the headlines for tonight. I'm Handy Gui and you're watching TVS Nightline. Sarawak is optimistic about taking back control of the BINTULU port, which will soon be administrated under the state government. Deputy Premier Dr. Amar Douglas Ugahamba said this was following the positive outcome from the closed meeting with Minister of Transport Anthony Locke on Tuesday.
Saya baru selesai bermasyuarat dengan Yang Berhormat Anthony Locke, Menteri Pengangkutan Malaysia. Matlamat saya adalah untuk menyampaikan surat, formal letter to him indicating Sarawak request or appeal for the BINTULU port to be turned into state port. We have a very fruitful discussion and he's very receptive to our proposal. Now we are working out the way forward. This will not be the last meeting. There will be some other meeting to thrash out the detail of this, the way forward.
Uga also explained that further discussions will be made to realize the visions of the request, which will be proposed soon. Hence, hope for a fruitful outcome for Sarawak.
Future meeting will be discussing some detail regarding the matter that we raised to him just now. That will be with the objective to get a final conclusion to our request. Of course, Sarawak are really hoping that they will agree to our request that BINTULU port will become a state port. Of course, I have to be optimistic. Kalau kita tak optimistic, kita tak berusaha bersungguh-sungguh. Tugas ini bukan tugas ringan, tugas cukup berat sekali. But anyway, I'm very confident the way the minister responds also very positive. Okay.
Now, stateless children in Sarawak whose citizenship is still pending from National Registration Department will be able to attend school when the new academic year starts next month. State Women, Childhood and Community Wellbeing Development Minister Dr. Sri Fatimah Abdullah said the temporary document issued would serve as a reference for their application to enter schools and to gain access to government health services.
And at the same time, I think sebelum bulan penggal persekolahan ini nanti kita juga akan menyampaikan permohonan daripada individu tanpa kewarganegaraan for D6. Remember the document document untuk individu tanpa kewarganegaraan. This one is state level initiative. Jadi yang telah I think dalam masa yang terdekat more than 60s. 75 dah sekarang akan kita sampaikan sebelum penggal persekolahan baru that will enable them to have a document pengenalan diri untuk memasuki sekolah dan juga untuk mendapat khidmat kesihatan.
She told the media after receiving a courtesy call from the Malaysian ambassador to Brazil, Gloria Corina Tiwet, and the Malaysian ambassador to the Holy See, Hendy Asan, at her office on Wednesday. The body of a 50-year-old man who fell from IGAN Bridge into Batang IGAN on February 20th was found afloat this morning, some 2 kilometers from the search control post. Sungai Merah Fire Station Chief Abdul Muttalib Jafar said the victim was retrieved by rescuers around 11:44 a.m. this morning.
Usaha pencarian yang dijalankan oleh pasukan mencari dan penyelamat telah dihentikan pada hari ketiga dengan penemuan mayat mangsa kira-kira 2 km dari pos kawalan bomba pada jam 11.44 pagi tadi. Mayat ditemui dalam keadaan sempurna berpakaian baju warna merah dan berseluar panjang gelap. Operasi SAR hari ketiga dijalankan dengan menggunakan kaedah water surfing searching pada jarak 10 km ke hulu sungai Batang IGAN, memasuki sungai Batang Rajang serta pencarian ke hilir sungai Batang IGAN. Mayat kemudian diserahkan kepada pihak polis untuk tindakan selanjutnya. Dengan penemuan mayat mangsa, operasi SAR ditamatkan pada jam 12 tengah hari tadi.
On Monday, February 20th, the incident was witnessed by two individuals at RH Frederick Emperan Tekalong near IGAN Bridge. The first witness claimed a man wearing a red shirt and dark pants had jumped into the river, while the second witness saw the victim struggling in the waters before he drifted upstream. Authorities also found a motorcycle on the bridge believed to belong to the victim.
There is no doubt that people with disabilities, PWD, face various challenges when it comes to their everyday lives. In fact, much of the disabled community faces exclusion from parts of society that other people take for granted. Hence, Miri District Officer Serbila Dahlan calls upon members of the public to help those who are physically disabled or less capable individuals to register under the Social Welfare Department. This aims to provide the necessary help or services needed to relieve their burdens.
Kerajaan kita ada menyediakan berbagai kemudahan, perkhidmatan dan bantuan. So dengan adanya peluang-peluang tersebut, kita sebagai ahli SBM mungkin boleh mengambil peluang dari segi bantuan daripada jabatan masyarakat. Sebab jabatan masyarakat memang ada berbagai bantuan yang boleh diberi untuk ahli-ahli. Dan sekiranya ada ahli keluarga kita yang belum berdaftar dengan Jabatan Kebajikan, sila pastikan kita bantu untuk beliau didaftarkan di Jabatan Kebajikan. Sekiranya tidak ada kemampuan untuk mendaftar, minta tolong ketua kaum setempat di tempat masing-masing untuk membantu beliau didaftarkan di Jabatan Kebajikan.
She said this during the Society of the Blind SBM Sarawak Chapter Biannual General Meeting earlier today.
Di pejabat saya sendiri, di pejabat era sendiri, kita ada data IKASih. IKASih adalah untuk golongan yang berpendapatan 1,500 ke bawah. Kita boleh kita daftarkan nama kita di dalam senarai IKASih. IKASih itu ada bantuan macam-macam. Kita boleh minta rumah, PPRT. Kita boleh minta modal perniagaan. Sebab daripada database IKASih, farma, perikanan, Jabatan Kebajikan dan jabatan-jabatan yang lain boleh ambil maklumat tersebut. Apa yang kita perlukan bantuan? Kalau modal perniagaan untuk buat kuih ke, macam-macam lah, ni ada beberapa bantuan.
Representing the Deputy Minister for Women, Childhood and Community Development was Dato' Rosie Yunus. During the ceremony, she distributed 4,000 ringgit to the Society of the Blind in Malaysia's Sarawak branch.
Now, Malaysia actively welcomes investment and trade in the energy industry from both local and international companies to address the energy crisis and to ensure energy security. Economy Minister Rafizi Ramli said the country's commitment to creating a business-friendly environment in energy would continue, as evidenced by the reforms in the gas market alleviation and third-party access that enables multiple entities to access and utilize Malaysian gas facilities.
He also added that both the EU leadership and the Malaysian administration see the global energy crisis as a silver lining and use the opportunity to expedite both parties' energy transition.
I think this is a pretext for a much wider collaboration. We hope to be able to develop a more robust partnership because Malaysia has a unique position in our leadership in LNG. There are several strategic aspects that we focus, including, for example, to accelerate development of hydrogen energy. And Petronas has already been working on rolling out some facilities for hydrogen energy.
Meanwhile, Rafizi also noted that the government is formulating a new mechanism to accelerate the production of green and renewable energy in the country.
The government will discuss the floor price for scrap rubber with the Finance Ministry alongside the other ministry before any decision is made on the proposal to increase the price of the said commodity. Deputy Prime Minister Dato Sri Fadila Yusof said the government would require an allocation of 1.29 billion ringgit should the IPG rate be increased to 4 ringgit per kilograms from the current 2 ringgit and 50 cents.
According to Fadila, who is also the Minister of Plantation and Commodities, his ministry has discussed with related agencies such as the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Economy, the Ministry of Rural and Regional Development, the Ministry of Food Industry, Commodities and Sarawak Regional Development, MFI Court, Malaysia Rubber Board, LGM, and Sabah Rubber Industry Board, LIGS, to study the proposed 4 ringgit per kilogram rate improvement mechanism.
Dapatan kajian menunjukkan bahawa sekiranya kadar IPG dinaikkan kepada 4 ringgit sekilogram daripada 2 ringgit 50 sen pada masa ini, kerajaan memerlukan peruntukan sebanyak 1.29 bilion ringgit berdasarkan jumlah pengeluaran getah sebanyak 450,000 tan dengan harga purata tahunan SMR 20 RM6.10 per kilogram. Untuk itu hal ini memerlukan perbincangan dengan Kementerian Kewangan dan ini sudah tentu bergantung juga dengan kemampuan kewangan negara.
He said this when winding the discussion regarding rubber, oil palm and other agri-commodities at the Dewan Rakyat earlier today. According to Fadila, the government would also implement the Latex Production Incentive (IPL) to help stabilize the income of smallholders and meet the needs of the latex-based downstream industry. Adding further, he said this initiative was implemented by the government as Malaysia's share of production for the year 2022 is only 3.3% of the world's natural rubber production. This, according to him, has led the country to not have the capacity to control the price of the natural rubber. Some of the initiatives are Rubber Production Incentives (IPG) and Latex Production Incentives (IPL).
A representative of the Bidayuh community, the fourth largest ethnic group in Sarawak, should be part of the Unity Government's cabinet. Syrian Member of Parliament Dr. Richard Riot said the Unity Government should be an inclusive government where all races are represented in the cabinet.
Akan tetapi, Datuk Yang Tua, alangkah baik suku kaum yang keempat terbesar di Sarawak juga tidak ditinggalkan. Suku kaum ini, suku kaum Bidayuh. Kami, I use the word kami because I am part of it. Kita mempunyai kami di Dewan Yang Mulia ini ada 3 ahli parlimen, yaitu Syrian, Puncak Borneo dan juga Mas Gani. Jadi dalam kerajaan yang inklusif ini, alangkah elok kalau suku kaum Bidayuh juga dapat menjadi anggota kabinet.
He said this when debating the royal address in Parliament yesterday.
Coming up right after the break, Budget 2023 wishlist. Russia issues new nuclear warning to the West. Right here on TVS Nightline, stay tuned. Hello there and welcome back. Now, the much anticipated revised budget 2023 is now down to just 2 more days until Friday, to be tabled by Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim. Many Sarawakian leaders and members of the public have expressed their hopes and wishes for what is to come in benefiting Sarawak and Malaysia as a whole.
In the budget which was presented last year, isn't it? And then after elections, they have to wait for the new government and they will present the budget again. So in the budget, it was mentioned that Malaysia will give incentive to any activities in relation to climate change mitigation. That is very good. And this will motivate the companies and whoever, agencies and so on, to take up climate change activities seriously. So for Malaysia, they are not giving grants, but they are giving tax incentive. So tax incentive is very good, especially, for example, in carbon storage. In carbon storage activities, whereby now we can store carbon from another place, let's say from Singapore, and we can store it in our Sarawak depleted oil wells. And this industry is very capital intensive, mahal. All the equipment, all these are very expensive, and it will be very useful and very helpful for the industries to have some kind of tax incentive.
Okay, saya berharap Kerajaan Persekutuan turut prihatin pembangunan sosioekonomi Sarawak. Jalan pertanian, jalan lautan perlu dinaik tarafkan untuk meningkatkan produk pertanian. Dengan adanya produk pertanian makanan yang mencukupi dan berterusan kos sara hidup petani dan rakyat dapat dilestarikan. Rakyat sejahtera, Malaysia aman damai. Program penggantian baik lama di bawah perkhidmatan bekalan air di negeri Sarawak, khususnya luar bandar, wajib diterus dengan segera. Baik yang lama seperti baik semen apasto perlu segera digantikan dengan baik mix steel yang baru. Dengan adanya baik yang baru boleh menangguh tekanan air yang tinggi, maka lebih banyak rakyat dapat menerima bekalan air yang berkualiti, khususnya di kawasan pendalaman.
Juga kita harap juga peruntukan pembangunan untuk dua wilayah iaitu Sarawak dan Sabah perlu diakhiri secara adil. Apa yang kita dapati dalam bajet sebelum ini, walaupun peruntukan pembangunan ada disalurkan untuk kedua-dua wilayah ini, tetapi apa yang saya dapati selalunya Sarawak mendapat jauh lebih kurang berbandingkan Sabah. Jadi saya pada itu juga harapan saya ialah bajet kali ini akan bersifat menyeluruh dan juga ataupun kita panggil sebagai secara holistik, di mana ini melibatkan semua peringkat masyarakat agar semuanya akan mendapat perhatian dan juga bantuan kerajaan yang sewajarnya.
Saya juga mengharap bajet ini kerajaan dapat memberi fokus yang sangat serius sebenarnya. Ini adalah masalah yang berlarutan daripada sebelum pandemik, semasa pandemik dan selepas pandemik dan sekarang pun endemik. Sektor PKS ini masih bergelut lagi dengan cabaran yang agak getih. Walaupun kita lihat pada tahun 2020-2021 kerajaan sangat agresif dalam memberi bantuan, grant, bantuan, pinjaman mudah, tetapi mereka masih lagi bergelut dengan survival mereka dalam keadaan ekonomi yang mencabar. Dan ada yang golongan dari mereka ini sebenarnya walaupun mereka telah mendapat bantuan, walaupun mereka telah mendapat pinjaman mudah, tetapi ada segelintir dan saya yakin ramai daripada mereka sukar untuk komit dengan jadual pembayaran disebabkan kita masih lagi bergelut dengan masalah ekonomi yang menyebabkan aliran tunai dan keupayaan mereka untuk bertahan di dalam pasaran ini sangat lemah. sebenarnya.
Okay, my hope for budget 2023 is that the allocation for Sarawak will be increased. In the last presentation by Tengku Zafrul, the former Minister of Finance, he had allocated 5.4 billion for Sarawak, and that is about 1.5% of the budget. Yeah. So I do hope that the government will increase from 1.5% to probably around 30% maximum, given the status of Sarawak that is now considered as a region rather than a state in Malaysia. So for budget 2023, I hope the government will increase the budget allocation to narrow the regional gap. I think the government should focus on beside other areas. Number one, it is going to be the tourism industry recovery. Number two, it will be the green economy. I do hope that the government will focus on the green economy, as in the case of Sarawak. We've heard a lot about the hydrogen. So these are alternative energy. Another aspect that should be given priority is to fund local creative industry, to enable our local industry to grow and to compete at an international level. Another aspect that the government should focus is on digitalization. We have heard a lot about digitalization, especially for SMEs, for them to move from the existing production and to embrace digitalization. And the last aspect that I think the government should continue to focus on is entrepreneurship and marketability. So this is a very important sector that whereby our entrepreneurs need to be provided with incentive for them to recover or for them to survive, especially in this very difficult environment.
Itu kerajaan harus menekankan aspek kos sara hidup rakyat sekarang. Dan juga saya memastikan harga barang keperluan harian tu, saya mohon kepada KPDN sekarang memberikan kerjasama dan melihat yang dengan serius sekali. Mereka harus mempunyai jawatan kuasa ataupun pegawai-pegawai penguat kuasa mesti melihat kepada barang-barang keperluan asas ini.
Table more on green infrastructure and also our ability, that means our ability to produce more energy from solar, more energy from hydro. That should be the focus budget. And also besides that, of course, the training comes in, because training people is about number one. If you want to do anything, you need the talented people to do it. So training on those sector will be very important. And digitalization as well. For the last couple of years after the pandemic, a lot of things have changed, especially in the digital landscape. You can see a lot of Google, you can see Amazon changing. A lot of people have been dropped out from the industry. There will be opportunities for Malaysia and for Sarawak to take this in another step. So manpower skilling is another part important for Sarawak and for Malaysia in terms of digital technology. So we have here like 9 pillars of digital, IoT, the what do you call it, cyber security. These are very important aspect of digital economy in Malaysia and also in Sarawak. So we should really focus on the green energy, infrastructure, development of the power supply. In Peninsula, for instance, they have a lot of power plant from coal and also gas, right? So Sarawak, we have a lot of hydro and also potentially and solar. So we should maximize those. And the budget should support those themes actually. Yeah, that's my point of view.
Now on to some international affairs. Russian President Vladimir Putin on Tuesday delivered a warning to the West over Ukraine by suspending a landmark nuclear arms control treaty. He announced that a new strategic system had been put on combat duty and warned to resume nuclear tests.
Nearly a year after ordering an invasion that has triggered the biggest confrontation with the West in 6 decades, Putin said Russia would achieve its aims and accused the West of trying to destroy it. Alleging that the United States was turning the war into a global conflict, Putin said Russia was suspending participation in the New START Treaty, its last major arms control treaty with Washington, signed by then US President Barack Obama and his Russian counterpart Dmitry Medvedev in 2010. The treaty caps the number of strategic nuclear warheads that the countries can deploy. Due to expire in 2026, it allows each country to physically check the other's nuclear arsenal, although tensions over Ukraine had already brought inspections to a halt. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken called Putin's move deeply unfortunate and irresponsible. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg said it made the world a more dangerous place and urged Putin to reconsider. Putin, without citing evidence, said that some in Washington were considering breaking a moratorium on nuclear testing.
See the world closer with TVS as we bring you the latest news updates both locally and internationally. For more headlines, just head on to our website at tvstv.my or follow us on our social media platforms. And that's all the news we have for TVS Nightline. I'm Henry. Thank you for watching.
Mengambil kira cabaran ekonomi semasa,
pada masa sama memacu pertumbuhan negara, menarik pelaburan serta memberi rahmah kepada rakyat Malaysia.
Belanjawan 2023 membina Malaysia Madani, bagaimanakah pendapatan dicerahkinkan?
Apakah fokus untuk Sarawak kali itu?
Kami bincangkan bersama tetamu jemputan.
Diskusi pra-pembentangan Belanjawan 2023
bersama saya Dago Salid
dan saya Syira Abang Mansor secara langsung 24 Februari bermula jam 3 petang hanya di TVS saluran 122 dan MyTV.